Hey guys, today we're looking at the Honda Crosstour 2013 model headlights, specifically the OEM headlights. In the later part of this video, I will be showing the upgraded Sylvania ZXEs, and hopefully that will be an improvement. But right now we're going to be looking at the OEM headlights in various conditions, including highway and city driving, or local driving, as well as trying to find some darker areas to showcase the headlights. So right now we just have the regular low beams on, going on the highway. It's really, regular, pretty much you really can't see it or use it. I'm going to turn on the fog lights right now, because it's a factory fog light, I've been told by some people that they're not really as intrusive, so having them on gives you a little bit of visibility on the foreground and onto the sides, not so much onto the background, what you're seeing further down the road. So to me though, I like the road being a little bit brighter in general, so I don't know, it just helps me to focus better, I think. It does not at all make visibility down the road any better, that is for sure, but overall the experience driving with the lights a little bit brighter on the road, I feel more comfortable with that. Now, this definitely makes a difference when it's closer to pitch black conditions. In fact, I drove I-91 to Vermont over the winter, and if you're not using your high beams, the fog lights really brightens up the pitch black conditions, and that really helps as well. Alright guys, now we are off the highway, and as you can see, it's a lot darker around here. I'm hoping to get some alone time on the road here to showcase the lights a little bit better. Here we go. So right now we are still on the low beams, just the low beams, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see it on the camera well, but I have really good visibility and cover the entire 3-lane road right here. From left to right, the light is shining pretty well, and we'll definitely use this as a comparison against the Sylvanias. Now I'm going to turn on the fog lights. There you go, and hopefully on the camera you'll be able to see that the side of the road is much brighter. And basically the foreground close to the car is brighter. As I said earlier, I don't know if I'm going to edit it out, but as I said earlier, I definitely like the brightness, especially when I'm driving in places like this where there's not many other cars, especially when it's a little darker than this. The brightness in general helps my eyes to focus on the road and better keep aware of the road. Now, it's perfectly okay not to drive with the fog lights on, but it almost seems like the white lines on the road disappear about maybe 5 to 10 feet in front of the car when I'm looking down the road. And I think that's just a little bit, makes me a little bit more hesitant in my control of the car. Now, coming up here is a darker bend. I'm going to turn on the high beams. Of course, the high beams here, you see that it covers a lot higher on the road, further down the road. But overall, the cutoff of the low beams here is basically the same. You do not get that much more on the road. You get a lot more further in the tree line and things like that. But as far as seeing the road, the high beams are not quite as good seeing further on the road. Now, when I was driving on my trip to Vermont using high beams a lot, if on a downhill like this, you would see the bend quite well, etc. But it's more important for me to see the trees so I can have a general idea of where the road is bending, especially on the highway alone at night, and going at a relatively high speed. So I think hopefully that will be a good demonstration thus far of dark driving, driving in relatively dark conditions with the low beam, the fog lights, and the high beams. Alright, so we're stopped here looking at the low beams. You can see the cutoff there, a little bit more reflective on top, but good brightness and at a pretty good angle as well. I'm going to put the fog lights on. It really doesn't do too much in terms of what's in front of us. It does make the side very bright, and it goes, as I said before, it goes very wide to like about 5 lanes or so. And then the high beams, you can see that the color is actually pretty good, pretty white, but the focus is lost very quickly. So you see what's in front of you, and then anything to the side is good but not great. And also I think the main thing is basically making sure any road reflectors catch the light. But the color is pretty much the same. From here, the whiteness of the light is actually pretty good. The stock OEMs for Honda Crosstour 13 is pretty good. Hey guys, it's only been one day since the OEM video, and I'm actually a little bit surprised at myself. I was able to do most of this stuff. But I got a little help from the forums at crosstourowners.club.com, and I've been there a couple of days now, and they've been very nice to me. Helped me out with some tips, and I was able to install all but one headlamp, the driver side high beam headlamp. Has been a little bit of a pain, and I might have to take it to the shop. I'll give it one more try, maybe tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. But right now I am running low beams with Sylvania ZXEs, as well as the fog lamps, and my right passenger headlamp high beam is also the Sylvania ZXEs. So we'll get to see basically the same route as we did yesterday with the new lights. And already I've noticed that the ZXEs are much more brighter going forward, but I have yet to determine how well they perform on the sides. I heard in some of the other YouTube videos that they're not quite as good in terms of spread to the side of the road, but they do give a very good forward push. So we'll take the same route as we did yesterday and look at the spread, the distance, and of course, you know, everybody's interested in the color temperature and how white it is. Okay guys, we're on the same road as before, and we're looking at the upgraded Sylvania ZXEs, and I have my low beams on, and I can see the spread to the side of the road. It does go above the bushes pretty well. The fog lamps does the same thing as before. It has very good transition from foreground brightness to background, and it does spread just as wide as before. The spread is very wide. It can cover up to about 5 lanes worth of light directly to the side, probably at a you know, close to 50 or 60 degree angle. I would say though, generally the low beams, actually, in these darker conditions, does okay, but not quite as bright as I expected. These are, you know, mixed dark to light conditions, and I thought these lights would be a little bit brighter, but I think because the ZXEs are supposed to be more like the HIDs, the color temperature is maybe a little too high. Now we'll look at the high beams. Now one of them is ZHEs and one of them is the OEM. I don't know if you can see on the video, but the right hand side is definitely whiter than the left hand side. There's not really much difference in terms of spread or anything like that. Alright, we're back at this spot again. I'm not sure what the video will show, But the light that you see on the green of the fence and on the tree there is definitely whiter. The tree, the leaves are very crisp where they do shine brightly, but I feel like the light is lost a lot more onto the sides, as we saw earlier. So these ZXEs are really good at going forward, but not quite as good on the sides. I'm going to turn on the fog lamps, and basically that helps to solve the problem of the light on the side. But now you basically have to burn 4 lamps at the same time to get that effect. I'm going to turn on the high beams here, and you can really tell the color difference between the OEMs on the left and the ZXEs on the right. The ZXEs are supposed to be 42K, I think. The OEMs are 32K, and the trees, the leaves on that tree there, definitely has that little bit of yellow on it. Whereas before with the low beam, it's a lot more crisp and cool. Personally, I'm not sure I'm going to get the ZXEs again if these ever burn out. I feel like they're not quite worth the money, especially since they're like the most expensive line on the Sylvanias. I might downgrade a little bit, go to one of the cheaper ones, or find something else as a replacement. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to use HIDs for my low beams so that they last longer, don't have to get them changed as often, and they're brighter and whiter. Keep maybe the ZXEs or the Ultras for the fog lamps, and then as far as the high beams, I feel like I'm going to test them out on the road trip this coming 4th of July and see how the high beams perform. But I feel like the high beams are such a hassle to install on this Crosstour that I'm going to find something that lasts a lot longer for the lamps. Anyways, I think that's pretty much it for the reviews. My general, overall impression is that I like them, but I wish they could be a little bit better in terms of spread and brightness. I probably would not get them again. I might try the Ultras next time instead of the ZXEs. I really couldn't care less about. I couldn't care about the cool looking HID look, because I'll probably get HIDs for my low beams anyway. Alright, thanks a lot for watching. I should have another video or at least a tutorial link to the installation part of these lights for the Crosstour, since there's so few Crosstour videos out there. And that's about it. Have a good night.